All right, everybody. So I have finally finished payroll for all the employees, so they'll be happy tomorrow. Had to make sure I got that done. But now we get to have a little bit of fun. So this video should be pretty cool. What I plan on doing is I'm going to go through every team in the ACC, and I'm just going to ask the question, if we played this team this week, how confident would we be, or how confident would I be they would actually get the W in that game? So the way that my scale works is it's going to be a scale of 1 to 10. One is not confident at all. So if we were playing against somebody like the Detroit Lions or I don't know, the San Francisco 49ers, I would be at like a 1 or a 2 because I'm like, we're definitely going to lose that game. But then if we were playing against Bethune-Cookman, I'd be at a 10. Like, we're absolutely going to win that game. Not a doubt. Okay? So that's where we are. I'm not really going to do too much talking on each of these teams, but the good thing is I have actually seen each of these teams play so far this year, which is nice. And that's what I'm just going to be judging, like just basing my thought process on. I have not seen both games of every team, but I have seen at least one game of each team. Okay. So let's start right at the top. Louisville. How confident would I be if we play Louisville today? I would be somewhere in the range of 6.5 or 7. Why? Because Louisville hasn't really done anything as far as their offense. Their quarterback doesn't look great. Their running back doesn't look great. They don't run any kind of crazy scheme as far as their offense goes, but they're always decent. Like Louisville is never trash. They're always tough to beat. For whatever reason, since Charlie Strong has been there, Louisville has always been respectable. So I would say somewhere like a 6.5, 7. I'd be pretty confident in beating them, but it wouldn't be anything like a surefire win, like if we were playing Bethune-Cookman, something like that. Okay. If you would, man, let me know what y'all think in the comment sections. If you think if any of these games would be much closer than I'm thinking, or if any of these games would be a blowout and I'm giving them a little too much respect. Okay. Clemson. I think Klubnik is highly overrated, and I mean highly overrated. And I've been saying this since he first started. I just don't see what everybody else is seeing from him. I think that he played for a good team and he's looked decent. And because of that, people are just showering him with praise. If you're on a good football team and you're playing decent as a quarterback, they shower you with praise. Think about Mac Jones back in the day. Mac Jones is not like that. But since he played for Alabama, they have an excellent defense. They've got excellent wide receivers and weapons all over the place. People started crowning Mac Jones like he was I don't know, like he was Tom Brady. And, so Klubnik, I'm not sold on him. But once again, like I said about Louisville, Clemson is always tough to beat. It does not matter who they playing. They are always tough to beat. So if we were playing Clemson this week, my confidence level in beating them is like a 5. I would look at that maybe as like a coin toss. It would go either way. And I'm not really concerning myself on home or away. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just saying if we were playing neutral field, played this game today, I would feel like a 5, maybe a 5.5. I'd feel more confident in winning than losing that game just because Clemson has gotten an L this year already and their offense does not look great so far. But I just know if it's a Dabo Swinney team, their defense is going to be there. They're going to be disciplined for the most part, so they're not going to be easy to beat. So I would say probably a 5.5 is my final score on that. Let's talk about Duke. Duke, I would say my confidence level is like an 8. I think they are lost in a lot of different ways. Manny Diaz went there. I expected them to do some crazy, crazy turnaround where they would be like towards the top of the ACC every year. That just has not been the case. They brought in quarterback Mensa. He was 23 for 34 last game, 334 yards and 2 touchdowns. The score was 45-19, so it looked like it was this crazy blowout. I'm telling y'all, it was a lot closer than that score says. It just got away from them real quick. So Duke, they're not a bad team. I just think that they are kind of broken is a good way to put it. They remind me of, how for many years the Canes have looked really good in the beginning of the season. They look unbeatable for the beginning of the season. Let's say the first 5 or 6 weeks. And then they lose a game. And then after that game, it's just like a free fall. They'll go 9-0, and then they lose one game, and then before you know it, they're 9-3 to finish the year. We've seen that many times with these Hurricanes, and Duke looks like that version of the Hurricanes after they lose a game. They seem like they don't know what's supposed to work. They seem like the old Mike Tyson phrase when he said, everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the nose. That's what it seemed like Duke is. Like they start off with this, and this is since last year. They start off with what appears to be some type of game plan. And then once they get sacked or once they throw an interception, once a team scores a 70-yard touchdown, they're like, oh, well, the hell with that game plan. What we doing, baby? Like they just come up with something drawn in the dirt. I don't know what they do, but if we were playing against Duke today, it would be a solid 8, maybe an 8.5. I think we'll beat the hell out of Duke today. Okay, next, Florida State. Oh, man. For one, it's a rivalry game, so those are always tougher to win. For two, their quarterback likes to run the ball more than he passes it. You can't be shocked when Tommy Castellanos passes the ball 15 times and ran it 18 times. Like, that's just what they are. And that kind of offense always scares the daylights out of me. They're 2-0. East Texas A&M look like my Pee Wee League football team. I don't know what they were doing. It looked like all Florida State had to do was get the snap, fake a pass this way, and then pass the screen that way, and they would just have like a wide open lane to score a touchdown. And it seemed like the majority of the touchdowns they scored, the person with the ball was like ushered into the end zone by a blocker. Like he and the blocker was like next to each other, high-fiving, running into the end zone. East Texas A&M, I am sadly out of shape, poorly out of shape. I'm 6'3", about 160, 155. I think right now, 38-year-old Jordan could go start for East Texas A&M. Like, they suck, man. I could go there and be like, they're starting defensive end, and I can't even bench press 200 pounds. East Texas is bad, man. East Texas A&M is bad. I don't know what they got going on there. But anyway, no disrespect. No disrespect. But anyway, Florida State. What would be my confidence level there? It'd be like a 4.5, man. They brought in a lot of talent. It's a rivalry game, and it always makes it tougher. Their quarterback is, I wouldn't say a run-first quarterback, but just about run-first, and he's super athletic. I do think he's susceptible to making some crazy mistakes every now and again when you go, what the heck was that? Like, I think he's susceptible to that. But yeah, I think final answer is 4.5, close to a 5, mainly 4.5. I would not be confident in us winning that game at all. Yeah, 4.5. Close to a 5, almost a coin toss on that. Okay, SMU. SMU is whack, by the way. I think they are so whack, mainly because I just feel like any Hurricanes player that doesn't get as much playing time as they'd like, I just imagine them having their phones blowing up on the way back to their dorm. And it's like, SMU, like SMU people. Like every time I think about SMU, that's what I think of. Like I feel like they just sit and watch the Hurricanes play, and they're like, "Oh, so and so didn't get enough playing time in this game. Get on the horn, call them real quick." And like as soon as the game ends, they're just calling them like crazy, saying, "Hey, come play for us." They are just thirsty. If we were playing them today, my confidence level would be like a 7, 6.5 or a 7. I do think that I don't think they're like super talented, but I do think that they're really well coached. I think Rhett Lashley is a monster when it comes to coaching. Huge respect for him. Not so much for his recruiting, but as far as him putting a game plan on the field, I think he's pretty excellent. There's one beef that I actually have with every ACC school, and I've talked about this with my cousins who's also a Hurricanes fan. And it seems like SMU has fallen right into line with this thought process that I have, which is ACC schools, when they're playing against other ACC schools, they play way up here. But when they're playing against a team out of conference, they play way down there. And I know the first reaction to that is typically like, well, that's just because they're not as good. That means, if ACC is playing against the SEC, the ACC school is going to not play so well because they're playing against more competition. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you watch Virginia Tech, perfect example. If you watch Virginia Tech play against Clemson, you're going to see players on Virginia Tech have one-hand interceptions, catching the ball off of their shoestrings, one-hand catch with a toe drag inbounds, like crazy out-of-your-mind plays. And you're like, how the hell did he do that? You're going to see them do that in conference. But then if you see that same Virginia Tech team play against Baylor or play against Oklahoma, Virginia Tech is going to be dropping snaps. They're going to be mishandling handoffs to the running back. They'll be snapping the ball over the punter's head, like all kind of stuff that's just like, what are y'all doing? Did y'all not practice this week? Virginia Tech, I think, is the worst. Clemson is probably second. But it seems like every other ACC school does that, where they just play out of their minds against teams in the conference. And when they've got a chance to show how good ACC is outside conference, they like wet the bed. And it happens all of the time. It drives me crazy. So yeah, SMU, they whack. But yeah, that's my thoughts on SMU. I'll just leave it there. Virginia. Not a whole lot going on with Virginia. It's hard to tell what they are, what they like to do. They have no identity. From year to year, you don't know what you're going to get from Virginia. I did watch their game against NC State. I was not surprised. I wasn't surprised at what I saw. I wasn't shocked at what I saw. Virginia, it's just Virginia. It's not a whole lot going on there. My confidence level there would be like a 7 or a 7.5. The talent level is not there for them. Their coaching is not great. They don't do anything exceptional on offense. They don't do anything exceptional on defense. They're just kind of like a C+ team all across the board. They're not bad, but they're not good. NC State, same thing. Their quarterback, I do think that he's going to be pretty good. I think he should have been a Hurricane, which is poor decision, my man. Poor decision. Had a chance. Just decided to go to NC State for some reason. I do think that they are going to be pretty good this year. I think NC State, like right now, they're 2-0. I think they're going to end the year with like 7 or 8 wins. I think I'm kind of leaning towards them getting 8 wins this year, which I think will surprise a lot of people. If we were playing NC State this Saturday, or whatever day, let's say Saturday, I would feel kind of like at a 7, solid 7. Not a 6.5, not a 7.5, solid 7. I'd be pretty confident that we'd beat them. Yeah, I just think we'd get after that quarterback quite a bit, cause him to make some mistakes. And I think that he would start doing what I've seen him do, which is as soon as he feels any kind of pressure, his eyes go from there to here, where he's looking at the people rushing him instead of looking down the field. He does that consistently. He drops back. He starts looking pretty good at the beginning of the game. But if he gets some pressure on him a couple times, as soon as he thinks the rush is getting close, his eyes drop off of his receivers and he starts looking around at all the pressure around him. So, yeah, I think we beat them. Pretty confident that we'd beat them. Pittsburgh. So earlier I talked about the ACC and what they do when they're playing against teams outside of the conference. I talked about how Clemson's really bad at that. Virginia Tech is really bad at that. Pittsburgh is another one. Pittsburgh will look like, if you watch Pittsburgh play against Virginia Tech, you will think that Pittsburgh can go beat Alabama tomorrow. And then they get in the game against Alabama and they can't do anything right. They'll have 10 players on defense and leave a wide receiver wide open. Nobody's even looking at the wide receiver, just wide open. They do that kind of stuff outside of conference. It's just these things that drive me crazy when I watch it, man. Pittsburgh, yeah, That one's kind of tricky for me, mainly because Pittsburgh they're always tough and they play in conference so well. This is one that I would say is 6.5, maybe a 7. I'd feel pretty confident in beating them, but they're just always tough. Solid team, always. Syracuse. Um, Syracuse has quickly jumped up on my hate list. Georgia Tech and Syracuse, they like went from who cares about those schools to like way up here on the cusp of like Florida State and Notre Dame. Like they're almost there for me, mainly because Syracuse coach, I'm not a fan. I don't like that dude too much. The reason why is because after they beat the Hurricanes last year in that game, well, actually, two reasons. One, after they beat the Hurricanes, the way he was celebrating, I thought was just so whack. And he was like, "We got y'all in, Clemson. We got y'all in." It's like, what do you owe to Dabo Sweeney? Like, what are you talking about? Dabo, we got y'all in. I thought that was so whack, lame. Um, then the other reason is I just feel like in the first 2 weeks, because Syracuse, this game was basically over. They looked like they were done. But it looks to me like Syracuse has shown us what they're going to be in the future. Syracuse their quarterback was 34 for 54 for 416 yards and 2 touchdowns. They threw the ball 54 times. And to me, it looks like Syracuse has shown us what they're going to be when they can't, as you've heard me say on this channel before, jump ball to the left to this play, and then jump ball to the right on this play. Just throw it up to these receivers if there's one-on-one coverage. Just throw it up, and they'll just outman the corners for the ball. Just keep doing it over and over. That's all they did last year. They just said, whichever receiver you see is one-on-one coverage, don't even worry about them being open. They're all 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and super aggressive. So just, if they're one-on-one, just throw it up to them and they'll catch it. That's all they did last year. Now those weapons are not there anymore, and they've shown us through the first 2 weeks what we're going to see from them, and it's not a whole lot, okay? So if we were playing against Syracuse this week, I would feel like a 7.5 or 8 to beat them. I don't think that they're a bad team, but I feel like their defense is nowhere near I think their defense is not very good. I'll just say that. And I also feel like, excuse me, and I also feel like their offense is nowhere near what it was last year because those weapons on the outside are not there anymore. So I think Syracuse is going to lose way more games this year than people expect. I would not be shocked if they barely went 500. If they end the season 6-6, I would not be surprised. I think 7-5 is their best, is the ceiling for them. Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech, how can we not hate Georgia Tech? How can we not? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we got to play Georgia Tech if we got to the ACC championship and we played them there? That would be like a dream for me. Oh my gosh. I think I would almost put too much hype and excitement into winning that game over us like winning the playoff game. Like I would feel like we beat Georgia Tech. I'd be like, okay, this season's a success. We good, baby. That's how much I dislike Georgia Tech now. Mainly because I think Georgia Tech runs an offense that is, how can I say this? I don't know, man. It's just like, it's the Roach offense that I always talk about. Who's got the ball? Fake handoff, fake hunt, and everybody just runs in different directions like roaches. That's what it feels like Georgia Tech does all game, and it just seems whack to me. It almost feels like, like when we grew up playing video games, and you playing a football game. I remember years ago, I don't remember what college football game it was, but I was playing against my cousin, and he found a way to do a triple option. But his quarterback, he would just take the quarterback, and as soon as he snaps the ball, instead of running to the left or the right, he would run right up the middle and get like 4 or 5 yards every time. It was a glitch. He did that the entire game, and I couldn't stop it. It was a glitch in the game. So that's what it feels like Georgia Tech does. It feels like they just rely on glitches in the game to win. And they just annoy me with that. They can beat, if Georgia Tech was playing against Ohio State today, I would be like, I think Georgia Tech's probably going to beat them just because Ohio State is not used to playing that style of football. So Georgia Tech can sneak up on anybody and beat them. Ohio State, LSU, you name it, Georgia Tech can beat them. At the same time, Georgia Tech could also lose to North Carolina. They like the way that they play, their style of football, it's either going to work against you or it's not going to work. It's not really about the talent that you have. It doesn't matter about the talent that you've got going against them. It's all about the scheme. And if you find the right scheme, you can beat Georgia Tech. Charlotte can beat Georgia Tech. Charlotte could also lose by 100 points to Georgia Tech. You just never know with that offense they got because they're not really trying to throw the ball. They want to run the ball. And yuck, Georgia Tech. What's my confidence level? Solid 5. Not a 4.5, not a 5.5. Solid 5. Just because this style of football is so whack, and it's just difficult. Remember Paul Johnson when he was running that triple option offense, and it was just like, oh my God, I cannot wait for him to leave because one year, I can't think of what year it was, we blew that team out. We beat them like 59-14 or something, and nothing worked. The year before that and the year after that, they killed us. So it's just like, I don't know, man. You never know what you get when you're playing against that team. Okay, Wake Forest. I don't think there's a whole lot to say about Wake Forest. Their quarterback last game against Western Carolina was 13 for 22 for 227 yards. They beat Western Carolina 42-10. I watched those highlights, not the highlights, but like the extended highlights, like a 12-minute thing. I'm like, I'm not getting much from this because it's Western Carolina. But this is another team where you're not getting a whole lot from them as far as like the wow factor. Their running back did have 10 carries for 193. I remember seeing that and going, what? So that's crazy. So their run game, it's got to be efficient. Even if it was against Western Carolina, you got to respect 193 yards on 10 carries. That's crazy work. So Wake Forest, if we played them today, just mainly because I don't know a whole lot about them, I'd be somewhere like at a 7. I'd feel pretty confident in beating them, but not confident enough to say like an 8 or a 9. California, I have watched them play both of their games. The Texas Southern one was very hard to find, by the way, but I did find that game. They won 35-3. I thought their defense looked way better than I expected in both games. California, that one I would say is 6.5. Leaning towards 7, but a 6.5. Let's go North Carolina. North Carolina is kind of hard to it's hard to decide which direction they're gonna go in. They got the best quarterback, the best coach of all time, if you ask me, and Bill Belichick. But I think it's gonna take a couple of years for them to figure out what they're doing. I think it's gonna take a couple of years to get some real recruits in. I think this year is gonna be pretty rough for them. If we played North Carolina today, this is a let me go ahead and say this. If we played them today, I bet an 8.5 or a 9 on beating them. If we played North Carolina after 10 games, I'd be more like a 7, 6.5. Because I think they just going to get better and better and better as the year goes, once they start to grasp what Belichick is teaching them. Virginia Tech is whack, whack, whack. I'm telling y'all, I don't know why, but I feel like Virginia Tech's quarterback is going to try to play for the Hurricanes next year. Wouldn't that be crazy? Does he even have eligibility left? I think he does. But he's Cam Ward's cousin. I just see a world where he tries to play for the Hurricanes, and I'm begging y'all, please do not bring him into the Hurricanes family. He is not it. I know his coach kind of sucks, but I think the quarterback is not the main problem because they got a bunch of problems going on in Virginia Tech. But I think the quarterback is one of the problems. I think he's just not very good. They're going to have to try to do something like Georgia Tech, where they want to run the ball every play. If they do something like that, they'll probably be pretty effective. But having him trying to drop back, read the defense, it's just not working, and it's not going to work. We all thought he was going to be an exceptional player last year. He fell on his face. We thought he was going to be pretty good this year. He fell on his butt. He's just not it. My confidence level against Virginia Tech, yeah, it's way up. 8. Almost want to say 8.5. But I don't know if y'all consider Virginia Tech a rival, but I do. So yeah, Virginia Tech, I would say it's an 8. If it wasn't a rivalry game, I might move to like a 9. Okay, Boston College, their coach is trash, if you ask me. I think he is horrible. I talked about him last year when I watched Tommy Castellanos play against Florida State. I kept saying Bill O'Brien is going to figure out a way to ruin all this stuff. And he ended up benching their best player. The best player ended up leaving and looking like an all-star now. If we play Boston College, I'm saying a solid 8.5, maybe close to a 9. I think Boston College is whack. I think they're trash. I think their coach is just an accident waiting to happen. So, not too worried about Boston College. Okay, last but not least, Stanford. Smarty pants, Stanford. They are atrocious. They lost to BYU 27-3. They're 0-2 on the season. They don't play the style of football that they used to play when they had Harbaugh and when they had Shaw. I don't know what they got going on in Stanford. But I'm like 9.5 on that. We would beat the pants off of Stanford. I think the Hurricanes, it wouldn't be anything like the way Oklahoma State got beat. Like, what the heck was that? But it would get super ugly. I think we beat Stanford like 52 to 10 or something, 52 to 9. I think it would be just one of the, like when we lost to Clemson was that the Al Golden game? When we lost to Clemson. What was that score? Like 69 to 6 or something like that? It was nasty work. It would be something like that if we played Stanford today. So yeah, my confidence level's 9 or 9.5 on that. That's all of them, right? Yeah, that's all the ACC schools. So let me know what y'all think, man. Do y'all think any of those numbers were way off? Do you think I was a little too generous to some of these teams? Do you think I'm underrating some of them? Let me know what y'all think about that, okay? Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are going to continue building this thing one like at a time, one subscription at a time. Every like that you give, every subscription that you either click the subscription button or if you tell your friend to subscribe, every time you do that, it helps me take care of my family even more. So I really appreciate that. So thank you. All right, that's all that I got. Have a good rest of the day. Take care. God bless. Peace.